What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my full card breakdown and prediction video for UFC 324. We have Paddy Pimblett going against Justin Gaethje, and Happy New Year, everyone. Happy 2026, and it's gonna be a great year. And we're kicking off the year with two back-to-back banger cards. I mean, UFC 324 stacked from top to bottom. UFC 325 is stacked from top to bottom, and it just feels good to be back. It feels good that we got fights back each and every weekend. And I'm looking forward to a big year, and just glad to be back, guys. Hopefully you are as well. Before we get into it, a couple things. I am running a special for the year on DFSbythenumbers.com. I did this 2 years ago, and the special is going to be sign up with me for a year. Sign up for me and rock with me for 1 year, and if you do that and you sign up for the yearly package, you'll get $50 off total for the year, and you will also get a DFS by the Numbers t-shirt. And you could wear this wherever you want. You could wear it, to the gym. I like wearing it to the gym. You could wear it, as a nighttime shirt. Go to bed in, and you could have sex in it. I don't care what you do with the shirt, but you get a free shirt for anybody in the United States. I have mediums, larges, extra larges, XXL and XXX, and then you get content each and every week. Access to my UFC stats model with all the stats for the card. Write-ups for each and every single bet. I have 2 bets thus far. My best bet article and confidence rating, where I break down the entire card, give my pick, prediction, method, and confidence rating. We talk some long shot props as well. First notice on all bets, and then access to Discord, and then Dana White's Contender Series content when that comes along. So check me out, dfsbythenumbers.com, and rock with me for the full year. If you do, I'll hit you up via email. I'll say, give me your top 2 sizes, and if you're in the United States, I will ship them to you very shortly after. So check it out. I did this a couple years ago. People seem to really like it, and a lot of people joined. So check that out. So another thing is I need co-host. I'm looking for co-host for a couple shows. Best Bet. I need some co-hosts for Best Bet. I'm looking for a co-host for the Last Look show, which is going to be on Saturday. And I'm looking for a co-host or two to do a live fight companion. And yeah, that's right. This year I'm looking to be doing some fight companions. Gonna try every single week, every week that I can, that I'm not at a card or something. Gonna be trying to do some live fight companions. I need a couple co-hosts to come on there with me on Saturday. So if you guys are looking to be a co-host, hit me up on Twitter or Instagram, and we'll talk. Other than that, I'm looking for sponsors. You don't get paid a lot on YouTube. You just don't. You just don't. So I need somebody to sponsor the channel. Sponsor Best Bet. Sponsor Stat Diggers. I need a sponsor, for the love of God. So somebody sponsor me. And then lastly, since this is a pay-per-view card, we're going to be doing the significant strike contest that we always do. To enter the contest, like, subscribe, and then comment down how many significant strikes you think that Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje are going to combine for. $25 to first place. If there's a tie, the tiebreaker goes to the person that commented first. And yeah, guys, seriously, subscribe to the channel, because I lost 30 subscribers over the break. I don't know what happened. I'm not too happy about it. I was at 30K. I was so excited, but now I'm not at 30K anymore. So please help me out and subscribe. But enough with the intro. We're going to talk some UFC fights, and we're going to talk the first fight of 2026, and it is going to be none other than Ty Miller going against Adam Fugitt. We have Ty Miller sitting at minus 415 and Adam Fugitt sitting as a plus 315 underdog. And yeah, I remember looking into Ty Miller for the Contender Series, and I was kind of blown away with his performance. So he didn't go out there and get a finish, which on the Contender Series you would typically like to see. But he went out there, and it was pretty much a masterclass. I mean, this guy's long, this guy's rangy, pretty big for the division, 6'2", and his combinations are very nice. Just a very slick striker, and he hurt Jimmy Drago, who Drago's a pretty tough dude. He hurt Drago a couple times in that fight. He mixed it up to the body, to the head. I was really impressed with the striking of Ty Miller. The takedown defense seems like it's coming along. The get-up game looks pretty dang good, and I think a lot of people are going to try to take him down, and I think it'd be wise for Adam Fugitt to take him down, but I kind of think it's a tailor-made matchup for Ty Miller. I'm looking at Adam Fugitt, and I'm like, what is this guy good at? Is he a good striker? No. Is he a good wrestler? No. Is he a good grappler? I don't know. We haven't really seen him grapple all that much. He does have 2 wins in the UFC, where he beat Josh Quinlan and he beat, Kinoshita, but outside of that, he's kind of just a walking punching bag. He has a 51% strike and defense, and I kind of feel like Miller's just gonna piece him up, just gonna kind of play patty cake with his face. So yeah, I like Ty Miller here. Do I like him at minus 415? No. I mean, it's hard to lay minus 415 on somebody making their debut, but I mean, I just can't pick Adam Fugitt here to win the fight. I got to go Ty Miller, and I think Ty Miller potentially knocks out Fugitt. I mean, Fugitt's tough. He's pretty durable, but you can only be so tough, and you can only get hit in the face so many times before you go down, and I think Miller's going to hit him in the face just a lot. So I'm going to say Ty Miller wins this fight. I think it's going to be like a third-round KO. Up next, we have Cameron Smotherman going against Ricky Turcios. We got Smotherman minus 190 and Turcios plus 165. If there's a fight on this card that I'm not a big fan of, it's going to be this fight. I'm just not a big fan of either one of these guys. And I'll never forgive Ricky Turcios. And I've told this story a time or two before, but I remember Ricky Turcios made his debut, and I was so high on him. I love this guy. I love the motor, the amount of volume he throws. He can mix up the wrestling. He's just a madman in there. And I remember hyping him up that fight week. I was hyping up Ricky Turcios, especially from a DraftKings perspective. Like, this guy's going to score 1 million points. With the way this guy, he's going to score a ton of points. And I remember just being all in on Ricky Turcios against Amin Zahabi, and I'm watching the fight, and it's like Ricky Turcios is doing absolutely nothing. I mean, Ricky Turcios, it looks like he's blindfolded out there. I couldn't believe my eyes, and to make matters worse, Ricky Turcios started taunting Amin Zahabi. He started saying, like, come on, come on, come on. He was like, come on, come on, come on, come on. I'm like, Ricky, yeah, come on. Ricky, do something. And watching that fight, it kind of reminded me whenever I just graduated high school. I was on a senior trip with my friends from school, and I went to the strip club for the very first time. And I don't know what to expect. I've never been there, and so it's all new to me. I go up to the stage, I sit there, and I have like $20 in ones. I just graduated, 20 bucks in ones. And this lady comes up to me, the stripper comes up to me, and she's like smacking her ass. She's like, come on, come on. Come on. I'm like, okay. I pull out $1. I give her the $1, and then she's like, come on, smacking her ass. I'm like, okay. Here's another $1, and then she's like, come on. I'm like, okay, here's $1. Here you go. And then she's like, come on, and I'm like, okay, no, I'm not giving another $1. I get up and I go to a different section, because I didn't want to give her any more dollars, She wasn't really my type. She was kind of older. I'm like 18 at the time. So, yeah, it kind of brought me back to that, which was a horrifying experience. And watching that Turcios fight was a horrifying experience. So I will not be taking Turcios, but I'm also not high on Smotherman, who I think is very chinny. Got knocked out by Charlampos Gregorio somehow. He gets dropped and hurt and rocked in every single fight. I don't think his ground game is that good, but he is a slick striker. He does have very good hands, and when these guys are at distance, I mean, Smotherman's just going to piece him up. So I'm leaning Smotherman here by decision, but if there's a fight on this card that I'm just not a fan of, it's this fight right here. So give me Smotherman, and Smotherman by decision. Up next, we got Alexander Hernandez going against Michael Johnson. We got Hernandez minus 155, Johnson plus 130. These odds have been out for like 6 weeks now, and money has came in on Michael Johnson. But I don't know, like, if this fight was a couple years ago, I think I might take a shot on Michael Johnson. But the thing with Hernandez is, I think he's finally starting to put it together. He's finally starting to get it together, right? This guy made his debut back in 2018, knocked out Beneil Dariush. And he's been inconsistent ever since, win one, lose one type thing for a while, right? But now he's on the best streak of his career. He's actually won 4 fights in a row. Prior to this streak of 4 fights in a row, he had never won like 3 fights in a row. So yeah, he's finally starting to put it together. He's finally starting to fill out, in this lightweight weight class. He used to fight at featherweight and he had to cut a lot of weight, but he's finally filling out at lightweight. And he's finally starting to maybe fix some of the cardio issues, maybe fix some of the fight IQ issues. He's not going balls to the wall and gassing out later in fights. And quite frankly, he looks very good right now. He is 33 years old, So he is getting up there a little bit, but I mean, Michael Johnson's 39, almost 40 years old. And I also think there might be a little bit of recency bias here, considering Michael Johnson pulled off a massive upset in his last fight against Daniel Zellhuber. But I also think Zellhuber, I don't know what he was doing. Zellhuber threw like 0 punches. All he did was really throw head kicks that were blocked. I don't know what the game plan was for Zellhuber, but yeah, Johnson was like plus 500, plus 600. He's a massive dog. But yeah, I got to go Hernandez here. It's actually kind of funny. Both these guys seem to, whenever you least expect, to just find a way to lose. Like Michael Johnson's found a ton of ways to lose. And in some ways, just in hilarious fashion. I mean, Michael Johnson has 19 losses. And same thing with Hernandez. Like Hernandez, a lot of times he can find a way to lose. And he can gas out and he can get finished. But I just don't think Michael Johnson's the type of guy that's going to push a hellacious pace, like Drew Dober did, like Moicano did, like Billy Quarantillo did. I don't think Johnson's going to go out there and push that type of pace. So I'm going to take Hernandez here. Like I said, I think he finally has put it all together. And I don't think he's going to make like a serious run or nothing, but I think he can beat 40-year-old Michael Johnson at this point. So give me Hernandez. Give me Hernandez by decision. Up next, we got Josh Hokit going against Denzel Freeman. We got Josh Hokit minus 215. Denzel Freeman is plus 185. And yeah, Freeman went out there in his last fight and pulled a Ricky Turcios. I mean, that was probably the worst fight of the year. Denzel Freeman versus Marek Bujalo. I mean, that fight was horrible. Neither guy did anything for 15 minutes, and to make matters worse, Denzel Freeman was I don't know what he was saying. He was like doing, yeah, hey, ho. Like, what are you talking about? Why are you haying and hoeing, Denzel? You're not doing anything. You have a one-dimensional grappler striking with you. Go out there and knock this guy out. I think it was a horrible performance by Freeman, and I think it left a terrible taste in everyone's mouth. Denzel Freeman did. And I think that's the reason we're getting him at plus 185 here. So I go back and I watch, the rest of Freeman's fights, and this guy Freeman, he's pretty good. He's a pretty good striker. He has a wrestling background. He has good cardio. He has good ground and pound if he gets on top. I mean, this guy beat Steven Asplin, a couple years ago, which he took him down in the first round. He dominated Asplin. And then he went out there in the second round and submitted Steven Asplin, who Asplin is a guy that I'm very excited about and everybody's very excited about. And he has some wins. He beat, Cunha, who was on the Contender Series as well. So, yeah, Denzel Freeman's a good fighter, but he also just, crapped the bed in his debut, which we can forgive a little bit because we've seen on multiple occasions where, guys or ladies will come in there and they'll just poop the bed on their debut, and Denzel Freeman did exactly that. He still got a win, though. But I think that was more so due to Bujalo just being the worst fighter of all time. So this fight is interesting because both these guys have a wrestling background, different types of wrestling, but both guys have that wrestling background. Josh Hokit, I'd say definitely the better wrestler. I think if somebody's going to get this fight down to the mat, it's probably Hokit. But on the feet, I mean, the striking, it's Denzel Freeman. Prior to Hokit's fight against, what was that bum's name? Max Jimenez. The grappler. Prior to that fight, I've seen zero striking from Josh Hokit. Literally zero striking. The only striking you'll see is the ground and pound on the mat. But yeah, he went out there and he looked good on the feet, but against Max Jimenez, has no striking, whatsoever. So I kind of lean Freeman. I do lean Freeman in the striking. I lean Hokit in the wrestling. And the cardio of Hokit is another kind of question mark. We haven't really seen him extend that much. He's been, late second round. Well, Freeman's been to decision multiple times. So I think there is, some recency bias in this line. I'm going to lean towards Freeman. I kind of feel like, when two wrestlers collide, two grapplers collide, we get a striking fight. I kind of feel like this fight might take place on the feet. And if that's the case, it's going to be very close. I don't see in what world Hokit looks minus 215 on the feet here against Denzel Freeman. I kind of think this fight's going to suck as well. I kind of think this fight's going to really suck, to be honest. Not as bad as the Bujalo fight, but I kind of think it's going to be like a slower-paced fight. I kind of think this fight goes the distance. I'm going to say Denzel Freeman pulls off the upset and gets it done by decision. Up next, we have Charles Johnson going against Alex Perez. We got Charles Johnson minus 205, and Alex Perez is plus 175. So I got to hand it to Alex Perez. although he's losing a lot. I mean, I think he's, 1-4 in his last 5 fights. But for the first time in Alex Perez's career, he's being very active, which is that to his detriment. I mean, it kind of looks like he's actually 1-5 in his last 6 fights, but he's being a lot more active because typically, Alex Perez would fight and then you wouldn't see him again for another 1.5 years, 2 years. I mean, from between the Deivveson Figueiredo fight and the Pantoja fight, it was like a 2.5 year span that we've seen Alex Perez. He had that injury against Taira and even came back, pretty quickly after that. So he's being a lot more active. So I got to get him credit for that. But this is another guy in Perez who just always seems find a way to lose. I mean, even in fights, he's winning. It's like he's winning the fight. He's looking good, and then he just loses. He gets tapped out. He was looking pretty good against Almabayev. He was a decent sized dog. I think it was like plus 150. Plus 160 against Asa Mabayev. He was looking pretty good. I was thinking to myself, I mean, this is the best version of Alex Perez I've ever seen, and then he gets tapped out randomly. He was looking decent against Tatsuro Taira, and then he gets injured, against Taira. So yeah, it's like this is a guy that I think has a lot of skill. It's just once the going gets tough, or once he gets put in a bad spot, or once he makes that big mistake, I mean, the fight's over. He's been finished a ton in the UFC. Almabayev finished him. Taira finished him. Pantoja finished him in about a minute. Figgy finished him. Benavidez finished him twice. So it's like, yeah, it's like he's probably going to look good up until he's not. And especially in this fight. Because in this fight, Charles Johnson is a guy that's a very slow starter. So you've got to imagine Perez probably is going to win round 1. But as the fight goes on, Charles Johnson's going to get better and better. He's going to work his way into the fight, and Perez is going to find a way to lose the fight. So I'm going to take Charles Johnson here. I think he actually finishes Alex Perez. When Perez is losing fights, he's getting finished more often than not. And I'm going to say Charles Johnson wins. Could be knockout, could be submission, but I just have a feeling it's submission. We all have, things that we like, whether it's maybe enjoying a ice cold beer. Maybe, I don't know. We all have things we like. I think Perez loves to tap out. I think that's his secret fetish, just tapping out, because he's tapped out many times. I think he's been submitted like 5 or 6 times. So, yeah, I mean, probably puts his neck into like some type of front choke, which Charles Johnson has. So I'm going to take Charles Johnson to win here, and I'll take him to win this fight by submission. Up next, we have a sanctioned murder. We have Ateba Gautier going against Andrey Pulyaev. And we have Ateba Gautier minus 800. And Andrey Pulyaev is plus 550. And yeah, I mean, it's exactly what I said. I think it's a sanctioned murder. I don't know who sanctioned this fight. And quite frankly, we got to give a big shout out to the manager of Ateba Gautier. Listen to this strength of schedule. Jose Medina. Robert Valentin. Tristan Vines. And now Andrey Pulyaev. I mean, shout out to the manager of Ateba Gautier. This guy, Gautier, has 3 fights in the UFC. And you add up, the time, the amount of time he's been in the cage, it's been like 5-6 minutes tops. He's going out there and handling these guys and handling them accordingly. And I just don't see what Pulyaev brings to the table here. I mean, Puliev's going to try to run away. He's going to try his best to not fight like he did in the Duncan fight. But the thing is, like Pulyaev, he backs up more and more. If you back up to the cage against Gautier and cover up, he's just going to let off on a bunch of punches, just like Valentin did. Valentin kept backing up. Gautier came forward. Valentin tried to cover up, and he hits so hard that he can knock you out through your guard. I mean, this guy, Ateba Gautier, can knock down a house. If he hits a house hard enough, it'll fall down. So, I think Pulyaev, I think he might die. I truly do. And I think after this fight, he may no longer be with us. But I know one thing, and one thing for certain. I think his heart will go on. Every night in my dreams, I see you, I feel you. That is how I know you. Go on. Near, far, Wherever you are, I believe that the heart does go on. Once more, you open the door. The heart will go on. There you have it. Prayers to Andrey Pulyaev and prayers to his family. You just got knocked out in round 1. Moving on, we have Nikita Krylov going against Modestas Bukauskas. We have Modestas Bukauskas minus 135. Nikita Krylov is plus 115. And in terms of line movement, I think this is probably the line that has moved the most throughout the last month and a half. Modestas was like minus 200, now he's minus 135. Krylov was like plus 170, he's now plus 115. And, I mean, in my opinion, Krylov is washed. I mean, extremely washed. I mean, this guy has 41 fights. He's only 33, but he has 41 fights, which is a lot. It's not like a ton. It's not like 50, 60, but it's a lot of fights, especially when you consider his style. And his style is going, full, what, until somebody gets finished. I mean, Nikita Krylov's a very exciting fighter. But it's like, nowadays, so he had like a major injury after the Spann fight. I mean, he submitted Spann. He had some big injury. I don't know if it was a back injury. I think about it, maybe like a shoulder injury. It was something. It was something major. It was something so major that it kept Krylov out from March 11, 2023 to April 12th, 2025. So he was out for a while between the Spann fight and the Reyes fight. And he shows up to the Reyes fight, and it's like, this guy aged 10 years. I'm like, where's Nikita Krylov? Who's this old man? I mean, he looks rough on the scale, and he looked rough in the fight. He started out the fight just very patient, which is not something we typically see from Krylov, but he was very patient early on. Got kind of frustrated, it looked like, and blitzed in and got knocked out by Dominic Reyes. And it's like, yeah, it's not the best look, but I mean, hey, we can forgive him. Dominic Reyes hits harder. Hits pretty hard. And then he shows up just a couple months later against Bogdan Guskov. And I mean, it looked like he aged 20 years between the Reyes fight and the Guskov fight. He looks even older. The hairline's worse, has some gray hairs coming in. I mean, this guy's 33. He looks like he's 50. And he goes out there and he fights like he's 50. He does absolutely nothing for the duration of the fight. The aggressiveness is no longer there. The wrestling, the grappling, which is his best attribute, it's no longer there. And he gets knocked out by Bogdan Guskov. So in these last 2 fights, I've seen a guy in Krylov who's completely changed up his style. He's not as crazy, he's not as reckless, and I think that's to his detriment. And we're also seeing a Krylov who's not grappling anymore, and this guy's a grappler. He's attempted like 0 takedowns his last 2 fights, and he's got knocked out twice because of it. So, yeah, I think Krylov's chin is dust at this point. I think his fight IQ's always been god-awful, but I think it's even worse at this point. And although I'm not a Modestas Bukauskas fan, Bukauskas has been looking a lot better. Bukauskas has seemed like he's putting it together. He has some great training partners, and it's showing in the cage. So, yeah, I'm taking the guy who's not completely washed, and that's Modestas Bukauskas. I'm going to take Bukauskas to knock out Krylov. But, yeah, Krylov could prove me wrong. He can come out here and fight like he usually does and make this a car crash. He should probably grapple, but I don't know. I kind of think Krylov's on his way out. So I'm going to say Bukauskas wins this fight. I'm going to say he finds a knockout at some point, 2nd round knockout from Modestas Bukauskas. Curious to see where this line goes. Up next, we got Umar Nurmagomedov going against Deivveson Figueiredo. We got Umar Nurmagomedov minus 1,500. Deivveson Figueiredo is plus 850. And yeah, I think the line makes a ton of sense. Figgy, he's 38 years old. 38 years old. At bantamweight, I mean, it's hard not to see Umar just kind of take him down and do whatever he wants. He probably submits Deivveson Figueiredo at some point. It's just kind of a brutal matchup. I don't know why Deivveson accepted this fight. But he did, and it's a bad matchup for him. I guess Figueiredo's best chance is, catching a guillotine, which is extremely unlikely against Umar. Landing a big shot, which I think it's also extremely unlikely because I think Figueiredo's going to be on his back. I think takedowns will be free. And I just think Umar's going to style on him. So, minus 1,500, it makes sense to me. Is it disrespectful to Figgy, former champion at flyweight? Maybe a little bit, but I just think Umar's on another level, especially at this stage of their career. If this fight was a couple years ago, it'd be a different story, but Figgy's 38, and that Sandhagen fight was just a horrible look, just a terrible look. And if you're looking like that on the mat against Sandhagen, imagine what Umar is going to do to you. So I'm going to say Umar wins this fight. I'm going to say he eventually gets to the back and finds a choke. Give me Umar Nurmagomedov by second round submission. Up next, we have Natalia Silva going against Rose Namajunas. We got Natalia Silva minus 410 and Rose Namajunas plus 310. And yeah, these odds have moved a lot as well. Like Silva opened up, minus 250, minus 300. She's currently minus 410. So money's poured in on Natalia Silva, and I think for a very good reason. I think a lot of people are in agreement that, she's one of the best, if not the best, flyweight in the division. Potential former champion here in Natalia Silva. And Rose Namajunas, of course, former strawweight. She has came up to flyweight and has looked pretty good. She lost to Fioro, sure, and she lost to Blanchfield, but she's also going out there and beating Miranda Maverick, Tracy Cortez, and Amanda Hebos. So yeah, I think Rose at 125 is going to do well. I don't think she's going to be a champion, but I think she's going to do well. But I don't think she's going to do well in this fight. I think Silva is just, much better than Rose, especially at this point of their career. Silva has elite takedown defense. I don't think Rose has taken her down. Silva has a 92% takedown defense. Her striking is phenomenal. Great volume. Has some pop on her punches, on her kicks. And yeah, I think Silva's going to kind of piece her up over the course of 15 minutes. I think it's going to be a pretty frustrating fight for Rose. I think it's going to look a little bit like the Fiora fight, but maybe a little bit more dominant from Silva. So I'm going to say Silva wins this fight and wins it by a pretty dominant decision. Next up, we have Gene Silva going against Arnold Allen. We got Gene Silva minus 270. Is he really minus 270? Did my graphics guy make a mistake? Let's see. He did not. Gene Silva's minus 270. Arnold Allen is plus 220, which is kind of crazy considering, Arnold Allen's a very good fighter. He's not my cup of tea. I'm not a big fan of the guy. I think he's extremely low volume, very technical, kind of boring type fighter. But he's a good fighter. He's a very good fighter. And, he doesn't have a ton of losses, Arnold Allen. 3 losses. He lost to Max Holloway over the course of 5 rounds, which there's no shame in that, and lost to Movsar Evloev. Other than that, he's won every single fight. So, yeah, the odds are pretty wide here. But I got to go Silva for a couple of reasons. I think both guys are very durable, but I think Silva is probably the more durable fighter. I think both guys have power, but there's no doubt in my mind the guy that hits harder is Gene Silva. This guy, Gene Silva, hits extremely hard for the division. One of the hardest hitters in the division. And then also just more volume, more activity, more willingness. I think this fight has fight of the night written all over it. These guys are going to stand and bang. Gene Silva has no regard for his own safety. He's going to put on a show. He's going to do some taunting in there. He's going to do some fun stuff. I don't know if he's going to knock out Arnold Allen, because Allen really, he hasn't been knocked out before. But if Silva did knock him out, it wouldn't shock me. But I'm going to say Gene Silva wins this fight by decision. I think it's going to be a war. I think he lands the bigger shots, and I think he does more over the course of 15 minutes. So give me Gene Silva by decision. Up next, we got Waldo Cortes-Acosta going against Derrick Lewis. We got Waldo Cortes-Acosta minus 335. Derrick Lewis is plus 275. And yeah, Waldo's on a nice little streak. Waldo's starting to gain some hype. Whenever you're a fighter and you go out there and you fight, 4-5 times. How many times did he fight in 2025? I believe he fought 5 times in 2025. When you fight that much, when you're that active, you're going to gain some hype. You're going to gain some fans, and And Waldo's gained a ton of hype and a ton of fans. And he's going out there and having some fun fights, like we knocked out Shamil Gaziev on very short notice in a minute. Knocked out Dalia. We knocked out Ryan Spann. So yeah, he's going out there. He's being exciting. He's getting finishes now. He's being very active. I think the sky's the limit for Waldo, who's only 34, which at heavyweight, that's very young. So yeah, but it's a Derrick Lewis fight. And Derrick Lewis fights are always extremely tough to break down because you look at Derrick Lewis, and this guy has a ton of wins in the UFC, a ton of knockouts in the UFC. But I think he's at a skill discrepancy in like all of them. Like he doesn't have much volume. He doesn't have the best strike and defense. He has no ground game. He doesn't do much until he explodes, and then he lets off with a big combination, and oftentimes he will, find the chin and knock out his opponent, but he's a horrible minute winner, which at heavyweight, it doesn't really matter because he's knocking these guys out, but you won't see Derrick Lewis winning a ton of decisions. He's just not a decision-type guy. I mean, the last decision Derrick Lewis won, I think, was maybe against Ilir Latifi, which I thought he lost that fight, or Blagoy Ivanov, which I thought he lost that fight potentially. So it's tough to really pick Derrick Lewis. If you're picking Derrick Lewis, you're picking him to win by knockout. And for me, it's like, I think Waldo's extremely durable, which does it matter if Lewis lands something big? Maybe, maybe not. But I just remember that Pavlovich fight against Waldo where Pavlovich was hitting Waldo Cortes-Acosta with everything, with the kitchen sink. And Waldo's like smiling at him, telling him to come on, telling him to bring it. It's like, whoa, dude. That's crazy. I mean, Sergey Pavlovich landed some bombs against Waldo, and he just ate them and smiled through it. So I think Waldo's extremely durable. I think between the two, Waldo's a million times more durable than Lewis, and I think Waldo's a million times better of a minute winner. So yeah, I think Lewis is knockout or bust like all of his fights, and I think Waldo should pretty much cruise here as long as that durability, which I think he does have, holds up. So I'm gonna go Waldo. I'm gonna go Waldo to win this fight by decision. Up next, we have the new co-main event. Unfortunately, we lost the Harrison Nunez fight. We've got the new co-main event. Sean O'Malley going against Song Yadong. We got O'Malley minus 190, Song Yadong plus 165. And we haven't heard officially yet whether it's going to turn into a 5-round fight or if it's going to be a 3-round fight. But either way, my prediction's not going to change. So we'll say it's a 3-round fight as of now. And yeah, I went back and watched a lot of O'Malley fights, and I'm watching this guy against guys like Petr Yan, right? And in that Yan fight, I mean, he was winning the striking exchanges very, very clearly. I mean, you look at the distance striking between Sean O'Malley and Petr Yan. Sean O'Malley outlands him 80-47 in terms of distance striking. I mean, and I'm watching some of these fights, the Sterling fight, the Vera fight, the Yan fight especially. I think the Yan fight's a good fight to go watch. I'm just thinking to myself, like, I'm never, ever picking against Sean O'Malley when he's fighting another striker. I mean, if you're not taking down Sean O'Malley consistently, you're going to lose. Like, you look at the fights he has lost. Merab took him down 5 times, right? In the second fight. Merab took him down 6 times in their first fight. Petr Yan took him down 6 times, and that was a very close fight. So when he's not having a lot of success, it's because guys are taking him down, and you look at Song Yadong, that's not really his game. I mean, Song Yadong's landing less than 1 takedown per 15 minutes. And if Song Yadong's going to win this fight, I think he needs a lot more, than 1 or 2 takedowns to win the fight. Because on the feet, yeah, Song Yadong's a good striker. But Sean O'Malley, I think, is truly one of the best, if not the best, striker in the division. So, yeah, I think it's a striking type fight. And give me the better striker, and that's Sean O'Malley. The one worry is the mentality of Sean O'Malley. This guy, Sean O'Malley, was on top of the world. He was undefeated, besides the Vera fight, which he doesn't count. But yeah, in his mind, in his head, he was undefeated. He was on top of the world. He was champion, knocked out Sterling. He defended the title against Vera. He was on top of the world. And then he lost to Merab in the first fight. I think that might have took some confidence away. And then he got submitted by Merab. I think that might have took some confidence away. And now I don't like some of the things I'm hearing with him. It doesn't seem like he's, overly confident anymore these days. But if we do get the best version of Sean O'Malley, I do think he wins this fight. And I think he wins this fight by decision. So it's going to be Sean O'Malley by decision. Now it is time for the main event. If you guys have not already, be sure to comment down how many significant strikes you think that Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje are going to combine for. $25 to first. If there's a tie, the tiebreaker does go to the person that commented first. We got Paddy Pimblett minus 225. Justin Gaethje is plus 190. And this line has moved a little bit. There has been some money coming in on Paddy Pimblett. And I don't know whether that's because people think they like him in the matchup, or the clear as day staph infection on like the neck of Justin Gaethje. It's like one of the worst staph infections I've seen in a fight that's about to go down. I mean, it's a huge, just nasty. He's saying it's like an ingrown hair. No. I mean, I've had plenty of ingrown hairs. They've never looked like that at all. It looks like a staph infection. And there's rumors that, Justin Gaethje's not, training as hard because of it. I don't know, but it's just not a good look. It's just not a good look. And throw the potential staph infection out of the equation, and it's like, it's kind of a bad matchup for Gaethje, because if this fight hits the ground, it's over. I mean, the ground is lava for Justin Gaethje. Gaethje, he does have a wrestling background. He did wrestle, back in the day. But anytime we've seen Gaethje on his back, anytime we've seen Gaethje on the ground, it's been atrocious. It's been very bad. He's getting dominated, he's getting submitted, and he's getting submitted very easily. If Paddy gets on top of Justin Gaethje at any point in this fight, if he gets a takedown, if he gets on top, I mean, the fight's over. I mean, Paddy just has such a massive advantage once the fight hits the mat. And I got to imagine the fight's going to hit the mat at some point. On the feet, yeah, you got to favor Justin Gaethje. He's the much better striker. Paddy's striking has honestly came a long way. I do think Paddy Pimblett's made a ton of improvements in the striking, but at the end of the day, Justin Gaethje with those nasty leg kicks, that big power, he's much better defensively. I think Gaethje's the better striker, but how long is the fight going to take place on the feet? And on top of that, like, is Gaethje going to knock out Pimblett? I'm not sure. Gaethje's not really knocking a ton of guys out these days. You look at his last knockout was Dustin Poirier, but he has like one knockout in the last 6 years, which was Poirier. He did knock out Ferguson, but that was kind of like a mercy stop. Like, when's the last time he knocked somebody out other than Poirier? I guess Cerrone back in 2019. He did knock out Barbosa. That was brutal. Knocked out James Vick. Knocked out Michael Johnson. But yeah, he only has like 5 knockouts. And when I think of Gaethje, I think of a guy that's just a murderous knockout guy, and he hasn't really been that as of late. So yeah, is he going to knock out Paddy Pimblett, who's next level durable? Maybe he's, Pimblett's very hittable, but I don't know if it's that likely. So yeah, I think what is likely though is Pimblett getting the fight down to the ground at some point, and once he does, he's going to destroy him on the mat. So yeah, the ground is lava for Gaethje. If he can keep it standing, he's going to win, but I think at some point the fight's going to hit the mat, and once it does, it's over. So I'm going to take Paddy Pimblett here. I'm going to take Paddy Pimblett to win this fight by second round submission. And there you guys have it. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys could do me a favor on your way out, be sure to like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Trying to reach 30K for the second time. And yeah, be on the lookout for more content. I'm planning on doing some live streams, planning on doing some best bet, a last look live stream. And let me know if you guys want to see a fight companion. I'm planning on doing it. It's in the plans. I think that'd be pretty cool to do a fight companion each and every week. So let me know if you guys like that idea. And yeah, guys, check out dfsbythenumbers.com. I'm doing a ton of content. I have 2 bets out already. Going to be eating out a lot more bets once these props start to open. And yeah, rock with me for the year. Looking forward to a big year in 2026. And looking forward to kicking off the year with a bang, with 2 bangs, with UFC 324 and UFC 325. Best of luck, everybody. Welcome back, and we'll talk to you guys very soon. See you later.